Costa Mesa 911.
There's a body in my son's apartment.
There's a what?
A body, a dead body.
A dead body?
Suspect is from sexual activity. She's dead. There's blood from her head.
There was blood from her head?
Yeah.
On May 21st, 2010, a young woman was found killed in the apartment of Sam Herr, a 26-year-old Army veteran. When Sam's dad found the terrible scene, they called 911 right away.
Then I walked into the bedroom, and that's when I saw a body, a large amount of blood.
I immediately called 911.
The woman found dead in Sam Herr's apartment was Julie Kibuishi, a young woman known to Sam. It's unclear what happened exactly, but it seems like she was murdered. When Sam's dad found her body, Sam was missing. It's not certain if Sam was running away because he might have killed her or if he was just gone for some other reason. Sam Herr's parents, Stephen and Raquel Herr, got worried when they didn't hear from their son for a long time. Sam was supposed to visit his parents that weekend, but he didn't show up. On May 22, 2010, Stephen went to Sam's apartment with his wife. When they got there, they found a really awful scene.
I walked in, and everything was neat, everything was clean. And then I walked into the bedroom, and that's when I saw a body, a large amount of blood.
Feeling very scared, he quickly called 911.
Costa Mesa 911.
There's a body in my son's apartment.
There's a what?
A body, a dead body.
A dead body?
In the urgent call, Steve told the police that there was a dead woman in his son's bedroom. He said she was lying on her front. Some of her clothes were torn, and there was blood on her forehead.
Suspect is from sexual activity. She's dead. There's blood from her head.
There was blood from her head?
Yeah. Honey, I don't know what to say.
Do you know where your son is?
No, I don't. I don't.
The Costa Mesa community was surprised by the incident because murders hardly ever happen there. When the police arrived at the apartment, they didn't see any signs of a fight. Inside, it looked like a typical place for a single guy with empty beer bottles, cigarette butts, and a barbecue on the patio. However, everything seemed tidy and clean. That changed when they went into the bedroom. The bed was covered in the woman's blood, making it all red. She was lying partly on the bed and partly on the floor with her pants pulled down. Detectives thought she might have been attacked sexually before she died. She was shot twice in the head and there was a knife on the table nearby, but it hadn't been used. Oddly, she had a tiara on her head and there were curse words written on the back of her sweater saying, "All yours, you." Her bag was discovered in the kitchen. Detectives found her driver's license inside, which helped them identify the victim as 23-year-old Julie, also known as Julie Kibuishi. Julie Kibuishi was born on February 14, 1987, to Japanese-American parents, Jun and Masa Kibuishi. She was the third child out of 4 and the first daughter. Her parents always called her "my Valentine girl." Julie loved dancing and music from a young age. Her mom mentioned that she began tap dancing when she was only 5, and she kept getting more passionate about it as she grew up. Her friends and family said Julie was a joy to be with. She had a funny and cheerful personality that made everyone smile. Not only was she always positive, but she also went out of her way to help her friends. While she valued her Japanese culture, she was also very much like a typical American girl. After finishing high school at the Orange County School of the Arts, Julie went to Orange Coast Community College to study fashion design. At college, Julie became friends with Sam Herr, who was 26 years old. They got along well, and she even helped him with anthropology. She had no idea that being kind to him would end up costing her life. After searching the crime scene carefully, detectives tried to figure out what happened to Julie. Everything suggested that Sam might be responsible for her death. After all, she was found in his apartment, and he was missing. It was time for investigators to focus on Sam Herr. Samuel Herr was born on May 29, 1983, in Los Angeles, California, to parents Steve and Raquel Kalberman. He was the only child, and his dad was a special education teacher while his mom stayed at home. Sam was very loved by his parents, and they were very close. He used to visit them a lot even after he moved out. Even though Sam was tall and strong, his friends said he was like a big teddy bear. He was a guy who loved to have fun and was relaxed about things. When he was quite young, Sam joined the United States Army. He spent some time serving in Afghanistan and in Germany with the 173rd Airborne. After being in the Army for 3 years, Sam left and came back to Southern California, where he grew up. He wanted to go to college, so he used the GI Bill to pay for it. His plan was to finish college and then join the Army again as an officer. To achieve this, he started studying at Orange Coast Community College. That's where he became friends with Julie, who was 3 years younger than him. Like many soldiers who have been in war, Sam started to suffer from PTSD because of the 3 years he spent in the Army. Did he suddenly lose control and commit the crime in a moment of strong emotion? Since Sam couldn't be found, detectives thought he probably ran away after killing Julie in his apartment. The detectives became even more suspicious when they discovered text messages on Julie's phone from Sam's number. At about 2:45 p.m. on May 21st, 2010, Sam texted Julie saying he was going to help a friend and then go to his parents' house. But just 2 hours later, he texted her again, this time pleading with her to come to his place. From the way Sam wrote his messages, it seemed like he was in trouble and upset about something. Worried about Sam, Julie decided to meet him. She promised to support him, like family would. Sam's family was shocked by the discoveries and feared for his safety. However, these text messages made investigators think Sam was more likely to be guilty. It seemed like he had arranged for Julie to come over. Also, Sam's car and passport were not there, which made investigators think he might be running away. However, investigators would soon discover that there was more to this story. Looking back 8 years earlier, in 2002, when Sam was 18 years old, he was accused of being involved in another terrible crime. Along with 17 other people, he was charged with stabbing and beating a 19-year-old named Byron Benito to death in Canyon Country. Reportedly, on the night of January 15, 2002, Sam, who had been friends with Benito since they were kids, took Benito from his home to a spot behind a mobile home park. There, a group of people believed to be gang members attacked and killed Benito. Sam was accused of being part of it and charged with murder. Even though he was cleared of those charges, investigators still had doubts about Sam. While his family believed in his innocence, the investigators were almost sure they had the right person. Because Sam knew how to use guns from his training, they thought he could be armed and dangerous and running away. Thinking they had a dangerous murderer out there, the authorities issued an APB for Sam. At the same time, the Costa Mesa police started watching Sam's phone and credit card to try finding him. The police received information that there were 4 withdrawals from ATMs after Sam went missing. His credit card was also used to buy pizza in Long Beach, California, only 20 miles from Sam's home. They thought they would see Sam on the surveillance cameras, but when they got the footage from the ATM cameras, they were shocked by who they saw. They saw a young person wearing a hooded sweatshirt and a cap taking money out of Sam's bank account. The police and Sam's parents couldn't recognize the kid. Investigators thought he was probably helping Sam, either by helping him escape or by hiding him. Either way, the Costa Mesa police were really eager to find him. On May 26, 2010, they found out his credit card was used for another pizza delivery. They traced the delivery driver to get the address where the pizza was delivered. Then, they went there, thinking they had finally found where Sam was hiding. When the police raided the house, thinking Sam was there, they found 17-year-old Wesley Freilich and some of his friends instead. Although they thought Wesley might be involved at first, the authorities quickly decided he wasn't a suspect. But they did find that he had Sam's credit card. The teenager told the investigators a surprising story they didn't expect to hear. He said he got the credit card from someone named Daniel Wozniak, not Sam. He didn't even know Sam. Wesley met Daniel through community theater, and Daniel gave him the credit card with instructions to withdraw cash. Wozniak told Wesley that he worked as a bail bondsman and needed to get money that Sam owed. Maybe someone else would have said no, but Wesley saw Wozniak as an older brother figure. Not understanding how serious it was, the 17-year-old boy said yes and agreed to help. Altogether, they took out $1,900 from the account. The investigators recognized the name Daniel Wozniak because they found an invitation to his wedding in Sam's apartment. They wondered who Daniel was and how he knew Sam. They wondered if he helped Sam escape or if he was involved in the murder. There were still many questions that needed answers. Daniel Wozniak, also known as Dan, was born on March 23, 1984, and was the youngest of 3 boys. After school, he often stayed with his grandparents because his parents worked long hours. Dan grew up in a fancy house, and the family went on expensive vacations. He did well in school and was considered a good kid, usually getting high grades. He liked making people laugh and being the center of attention by telling jokes, singing, dancing, and doing magic tricks. Daniel discovered he was really good at performing on stage, so he started acting and singing in musicals when he was in his early 20s. He didn't have big plans for the future and struggled to keep a job, so he moved around a lot and didn't make much money. But he never gave up on his love for acting and kept working in theater as the years went by. In one of the musicals he was in, Daniel met a woman he fell in love with, who was also an actress. They dated for a while and then decided to get married. On May 26, 2010, when the police found Daniel, he was having his bachelor party in Huntington Beach, California. But how did Daniel know Sam Herr? It was discovered that Daniel lived in the same apartment complex as Sam. Thinking that Wozniak might have helped Sam escape or hide, or was involved in Julie's murder, the police went to his private bachelor party with an arrest warrant. When Wozniak saw the police, he looked very scared, which made the detectives think he knew more than he was saying. They arrested him for questioning. In the questioning room at first, Wozniak said the only thing he did wrong was being involved in credit card fraud and trying to protect Sam. He told the investigators that he and Sam came up with a plan to take out all of Sam's money from his bank account with Wesley's help. Then they would say the credit card was stolen. But before they could do it, Sam confessed something shocking. He said that after Sam confessed, he left him at a nearby shopping center and hadn't seen him since then. However, the detectives thought he was still protecting Sam and that he knew more about Julie's murder than he was saying. The detectives decided to try a new tactic. They took a sample of Daniel's DNA, which made him very anxious. He tried to stay calm, but the detectives could tell he was hiding something. Right away, he began to tell more about what happened. The detectives noticed that Wozniak was worried that his DNA would be found in Sam's apartment. Even though he tried to deny it, he couldn't keep his story straight and kept changing it when he felt pressured. After staying quiet for a while, Wozniak admitted that he knew about Julie's murder and helped Sam escape. When the detectives mentioned they had his DNA, he tried to calm them down by saying it wouldn't be found on Julie's body. He still insisted he had nothing to do with the murder. The detectives thought Wozniak would tell them more, but he suddenly said he didn't want to talk anymore. However, because the situation was serious, the detectives couldn't just let him leave without finding out everything he knew. The detectives warned Wozniak that if he didn't tell them everything, he could be arrested for helping with the murder. This was serious because he had a wedding planned in just 48 hours, and he didn't want to miss it. Feeling stressed, Wozniak began to break down. The story changed once more. The detectives wanted to make Wozniak confess quickly, so they pretended they already had the DNA results. They said they found his DNA on Julie's body, even though they hadn't actually done the test yet. Surprisingly, he didn't argue against the accusation. Instead, he admitted that his DNA was on Julie's body because he was standing right by her when it happened. It turns out Wozniak wasn't as good at pretending in the interrogation room as he was on stage. As his lies unraveled, he revealed another shocking truth. This was a big warning sign for the detectives because they had only seen one gunshot wound at the crime scene. It was only after an autopsy that they found out about a second gunshot. Wozniak admitting he was there when she died meant he helped in the murder, so the detectives could arrest him. Even though Wozniak was in jail, the detectives still needed to locate Sam, and Daniel wouldn't say anything. While detectives were looking for any hints to find Sam Herr, Wozniak, who was in jail, phoned his fiancée, Rachel Buffet. Whether Wozniak knew the talks were being recorded or not, he was going to get trapped in his own lies. Rachel decided to prioritize her freedom over her relationship with Wozniak. She informed him that she planned to contact the detectives with additional details. Wozniak realized he needed to speak to the detectives before Rachel could. Suddenly, he felt panicked and desperate to make the deal with the detectives that he had rejected just hours earlier. But what Wozniak revealed to the detectives this time was something they couldn't have even imagined. For the first time, Wozniak was willing to explain the sequence of events in his evil murder plan, which began with a small request from a friend. On May 21, 2010, Wozniak, who Sam thought was a close friend, asked him for help moving boxes in the attic of a theater at a nearby military base. While Sam was busy moving the boxes, kneeling down with his back to Wozniak, Wozniak suddenly pulled out a gun and shot him in the head. At first, Sam didn't understand what had happened. When he realized he'd been shot, he pleaded with Wozniak to help him. Without any hesitation, this heartless killer loaded his gun again and shot Sam for a second time, killing him right away. After murdering Sam, he wasn't done yet. Calm and collected, he did something shocking. He sent a text message to Julie from Sam's phone, tricking her into coming to Sam's apartment. Without any care, he left Sam's body in the attic and went to act in his play, laughing, singing, and dancing as if he hadn't just killed someone and tricked another person into coming to the same fate. Later that night, Wozniak quietly entered Sam's apartment. Once Julie was inside, he shot her twice in the head. Then, he arranged the scene to make it seem like Sam had attacked and murdered Julie before running away. But he had to make sure nobody discovered Sam. So, in desperation, he did one of the most horrible things imaginable. He returned to the attic and dismembered Sam's hands and head in an attempt to conceal the deceased's identity. He disposed of them at a nearby park. But even after these heinous acts, seemingly without a care in the world, Wozniak once again returns to the theater. In some pictures from the cast party that detectives got later, you can see him laughing and joking around with other people. But maybe the reason behind it all is even more messed up than the murders themselves. It came down to money. Wozniak always had trouble with money and keeping a job. When the murders happened, he was 2 months behind on rent and about to be kicked out. Also, he couldn't afford the big wedding or honeymoon he wanted. Then he found out Sam had $62,000 from his time in the military. He killed 2 innocent people just so he could have a fancy wedding and a luxurious vacation. Even if the confession wasn't enough, the police found the evidence bag Rachel mentioned on the phone with Wozniak, all thanks to Wozniak's brother Tim. Tim was told to get rid of the bag, but instead, he tossed it over the fence at their parents' house. Inside the backpack were things that made Wozniak look guilty, like Sam Herr's financial papers, passport, his bloody clothes, and most importantly, the murder weapon. Wozniak's DNA was all over the stuff, showing that he and only he did the double murder. On December 16, 2015, after only 5 days of trial, Wozniak was declared guilty of 2 charges of first-degree murder. On January 11, 2016, after just an hour of thinking, one of the quickest decisions about the death penalty, the jury suggested that Daniel Wozniak should get the death penalty. Then, on September 23, 2016, the judge officially gave him the death sentence. Deception seemed to never stop in this case. Detectives found out years later that Wozniak's ex-fiancée, Rachel Buffet, not only knew about the murder plans but also lied to the detectives. Even though she said she didn't do anything wrong, she got arrested and accused of 3 serious crimes for helping after the fact. They said she lied many times to the police. On September 12, 2018, she was found guilty of 2 of those charges and could have been in jail for up to 44 months. Then, on November 8, 2018, she was told she'd be in jail for 32 months. She got out of jail sometime in 2019. 2 innocent people lost their lives, causing immense pain for their families, all so one person could have his dream honeymoon. The only comfort the families have is knowing that this monster is locked up and can't harm anyone else. Share your thoughts about this tragic case in the comments section.